can't homeschool. I'm not a teacher. False. I know it's hard to believe, but no, you do not have to have a teaching degree in order to homeschool. Keep watching to find out why. My background is that I am a certified teacher, so I have been through those teacher training programs. I've taught in schools, and for 17 years, I've been homeschooling my own kids. And I can tell you that no, you do not have to have a teaching degree in order to homeschool. In fact, I would say that my biggest difficulty as a homeschooling parent is the fact that I was a teacher to begin with. It actually made it more difficult for me to homeschool. And at the end of the video, I'll talk about why. Now, the first thing you need to realize about teacher training programs is that they cannot teach you how to teach. The ability to explain things to people, to be able to come up with creative ways of demonstrating or explaining the different ways that we troubleshoot when a child doesn't quite understand what's going on, most of those skills are things that you either have naturally or you just don't. I actually knew people who were not allowed to graduate. We were seniors. It was the last quarter of our senior year. And one of the girls in the teacher training program with me was told that they could not grant her a teaching degree because she couldn't teach. She literally did not understand how to explain things. And those programs don't teach you how to do that. What do they teach you? They teach you a lot about managing a classroom. And you need those skills when you've got 20 or 30 or 40 kids that are all over the place in terms of their abilities and their backgrounds. And when you're trying to figure out how you're going to get this math lesson to all of these kids, when these kids over here are really beyond this stuff, but these kids over here have not even gotten the basics that they need in order to understand this lesson, that is when you need those management skills. They also teach you things like how to deal with discipline issues, how to foster a healthy classroom culture, all sorts of things about helping kids work out their issues, dealing with parents, and they taught you a lot of theory. They taught you a lot about different approaches to different subjects, and they would give you different ideas, different approaches to covering that information and teaching it, but I don't mean different ways to explain it. You have to understand that there's a difference between teaching, as in taking the curriculum that you have and enacting that curriculum in your classroom or with your kids at home, and having the skills to teach, to be able to figure out why your child isn't grasping it, being able to step back and think about different ways that you could explain this different concept. Those teaching skills are not really what we were taught. Now, you may be wondering, okay, but if I don't have those skills to be able to teach, then how am I supposed to homeschool? That is a fantastic question, and it's a very valid one. We will talk about that in just a minute. Now, the other thing that teacher training programs don't teach you is what to teach. You have to understand that when you get a teaching degree, you are being certified to teach a whole range of grades. So when I got my elementary education degree, it meant that I was certified to teach kindergarten through 6th grade. When you think about all of the content that is taught at all of those different levels, you realize that is a ton of information. They didn't teach me all of that information, and there's no way that I could possibly have retained all of that, right? So my very first year of teaching in a classroom, I just made sure that every weekend I went through each of the curriculum books that I had for each of the different subjects, and I would review what was coming up. I would read the textbook that the kids were going to read. I would read through the questions. I would look at the workbook pages. I'd make sure that I understood what they were supposed to be doing so that I could explain to them what they were supposed to be doing. And I would try to think of things that they might struggle with so I could try to kind of head those off at the pass. It's exactly what a homeschooling parent would do. We can't go into a classroom and know everything all at once. You're not expected to do that as a homeschooling parent either. So what do you do if you want to homeschool but you don't think you're a very good teacher? Well, thankfully, you are homeschooling in the 21st century, and that means you have an insane number of resources at your fingertips. You have curriculum that will teach itself. You have classes that you can enroll your kids in for subjects that you either do not understand yourself or you just have absolutely no desire to teach. You can co-op with other parents where one parent who is really good at explaining math can partner with you and you can explain the stuff that you're really good at. You can teach their kids, they can teach yours. You can get a tutor for your child. You can sit down and do the lessons with them, watching the video that comes with your curriculum, going through the workbook with them. And because you're an adult, chances are pretty good that you're going to be able to figure things out when your child can't. And you'll be able to point out, okay, here's how my brain is solving this problem. Let me walk you through what I did. That's teaching. That is exactly what you're doing. You are teaching them a thought process. You teach them how to problem solve. You teach them how to troubleshoot. You teach them how to find information when they struggle. And that's exactly what you do as a homeschool parent. You troubleshoot, you problem solve, and you look for help when you need it. So the bottom line is you don't have to be a naturally super gifted teacher in order to homeschool. And in fact, those of us who have gone through teacher training programs often struggle a lot when we first start homeschooling. And that is because when you go through a teacher training program, you get very indoctrinated and programmed into thinking that education must look a certain way. It has to include these elements. It has to look like this. It has to be done this way. And when you come into your homeschool, you bring that mindset with you and you have a very narrow view of what you're able to do with your kids. The beauty of homeschooling is that you have the whole world at your fingertips. The whole world can be your classroom. It does not have to be a desk. The whole world can be your curriculum. It does not have to be textbooks. And when you come into your homeschool from a teaching background, you bring so much baggage that it makes it very difficult to fully embrace all of the freedom that homeschooling actually inherently has. And that is why those of us who have been teachers desperately need to spend a lot of time deschooling first. Deschooling is the process of deprogramming yourself from thinking that standard public education is the official education that everybody should be trying to attain. And when you finally are able to rid your brain of this very narrow view of learning and education, then you're able to see all of the options and all of the possibilities that you have as a homeschooler. So I'm not going to lie. I'm grateful that I had that teaching background, but not for the reasons you might think. I'm really glad that I have it because it allows me to tell parents like yourself, no, you're okay. You don't need that background in order to be a homeschooler. And yes, it has given me some skills that other parents might not have. To be able to customize curriculum and to be able to understand child development a little bit. But guess what? I'm one of those resources that you get to come to when you're struggling. These are things that I help my clients with all the time, helping them understand why their child isn't grasping this, helping them understand what they could do differently so that they can reach this child who is struggling in this area. Going through a teacher training program made homeschooling really miserable for us for the first couple of years, but I am grateful for it because it has equipped me to help parents like yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.